Pete, welcome to Cape Town. In the brand new U-Barns at Milnerton Training Centre, your horses have arrived just on Sunday. So how have they settled in, and who have you brought with you?
Yeah, thank you, Troy. Yeah, the horses arrived Sunday lunchtime. The majority have travelled very well. They were very bright this morning, and I couldn't be happier with the way they've settled in. Very happy at this stage.
We're standing in front of a dynasty out of the mare Chevauché was an imported mare from Ridgemont, if I remember, my memory corrects me. His name's difficult to say, so I'm going to let you teach them. Also, the punters need to know how to say his name. How do we say his name, Pete?
Imilenze Yakadaduma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to practice. So he's won 3. He's now gone to a 90, I believe. What's his game plan, and how are you going to sort of program his runs here?
Yeah, he's a low mileage horse. He unfortunately injured himself on the treadmill where he fractured one of his hind splint bones. He actually broke it clean 2 places, kicking out in the back of the treadmill. But he's fortunately recovered from that. He did win his last start very well, and has moved to a 90. So he's in a little bit of no man's land at the moment. We'll just let him work his way through the grades and see how far we get with him.
Let's just walk to the next one over here, because we got one that a lot of people will remember, especially the Hollywood team and those that have followed the journey. You see Vungu Vungu, he's a water winter, and he sort of rang in the century for the Hollywood Bets team. What was that moment like for you at being sponsored by Hollywood Bets as well? If you just talk to us through that, and then eventually the horse himself.
Yeah, Isi Vungu Vungu he's a very talented horse. It was exceptionally gratifying to get that 100th winner for Hollywood. He won very well that day. It was the last day of the season last season. We've tried to get him to go 6 furlongs. He just wrestles with the riders, so he needs good pace up front, and so in future he'll just be restricted to 1,000 metres. His mission here in Cape Town will be the Cape Lion Championship, and I think Kenilworth is going to be absolutely ideal for him, where he can get a bit of cover early. He's a very talented horse, and we've got high hopes for him.
And as far as staying here, you're here until the end of February. How have you found Milnerton and the tracks? I know you're more familiar, at least in the recent past, with Philippi, but champions have been trained here in Milnerton, so I'm sure easy as pie.
Well, you know, I did train in Cape Town in the early 90s, but prior to that, I worked extensively here for David Payne, with his summer string and his winter string, so I'm very familiar with the facilities, the tracks, initial perceptions. They've upgraded the tracks, and they obviously maintain very well, so I don't foresee that as being any issue. The horses coped with them very well this morning. Normally, your first couple of mornings here, they pull in shoes and things like that, but we fortunately had no issues in the first couple of days, so I think we'll be fine.
Do you want to just point us to 1 or 2 more that we can just quickly chat about? I'll just follow your lead.
Yeah.
So it's Formagia.
Also a pretty talented horse.
Yeah. Fresh, good looker.
Yeah. He's a Karari, has only had 4 trips to the races. He won very impressively first time out. He then ran on July Day from a deep draw over 1,400 metres, and Pierre Stradham rode him, and I think if he'd known him a little bit better, he would have featured better, but he only got beat 2 lengths. He hit the front at the distance, and just ran out of petrol late, I think, you know, against more hardened 2-year-old competitors. He then ran also just behind them on Gold Cup Day over 6 furlongs, where he bungled the start, and he absolutely flew. I think he ran home in under 22 that day. And he's had 1 run since. That was last week. We were forced to run him over 1,000 metres because the race I originally had scheduled for him was scrapped. But couldn't be happier with his return to the races. He ran over 1,000 metres, came home very strong, to be beaten about 3/4 a length in 3rd.
Okay. What's his ideal distance and sort of what you have next?
I have always been of the opinion that he's going to go a mile. So his next run, all going well, will be, I think it's a Selangor Cup.
Selangor Cup, which might be the Punters Cup. It's going to be a fantastic day on the 19th of November.
That's correct, yeah.
Yes.
And depending on how he goes there, we hopefully have a crack at the Guineas with him.
Well, fantastic. Looking forward to seeing For McGear have his first start in Cape Town. Any more that you'd like to point out? We've got a lot of nice horses here,
yeah.
so I can just...
He has an interesting horse here.
An interesting horse.
Captain
Yes.
Bombshell.
Okay, Captain. Love the colours and love the labelling here. He's tucking into his food, so we can just talk about him.
Captain Bombshell has also only had 4 visits to the track. He ran second on debut after bungling the start. We backed him up 8 days later into the Group 1 at Maritzburg. He did a few things wrong in that race, but still managed to run 4th. Unfortunately, they rated him 103 after that race.
Wow.
He then ran on Gold Cup Day. Once again, did a few things wrong in the race, but still only got beat about 2 lengths. That was in a Group 2 1200, I can't remember the race's name. And then he came out last week, Wednesday, and won with consummate ease. So he will head now to the sophomore sprint. Still not convinced how far his stamina will stretch out, but I think his next couple of starts will tell us which direction we should be heading with him.
I think he's going to come and say hello.
Yeah.
Come on, boy. No chance.
No. He is a bit of a clown, but hey, boy. And she's a real sweetie.
This is Bevy's Delight, Vercingetorix out of the talented Bella Spumante. Thank you for your time, Pete. Any quick comments on Bevy's Delight? You said she won recently and quite convincingly, but breaking her maiden, but she's run in feature company before that.
Yeah,
so
she also took a strange route from her debut run, where she ran in a Colts winners race, but she ran just behind them. She ran really good, and then she ran just off them over 1400 on July Day, and then blotted her copybook a little bit but from a deep draw on Gold Cup Day. Gave her a break. She's furnished a little bit. She is quite small. She's still got quite a bit of growing and finishing to do. And she won very impressively last week, Wednesday. I think she won by about 6.5 or something, never came off the bridle, eased down the last half a furlong. She probably could have won by 10, I think. Now she's entered for the Fillies Championship Saturday week, where she drew 4 and she will run there.
that's possibly your first outings for a few of yours, or do you
Yeah,
have
no, I've got. I think she will be the first runner. You know, obviously she's very fit. The trip has tightened her up even more, so I actually hope she puts on a bit more condition over the next week or so. But she's fit and ready to go.
Amazing. Thank you for your time.
Okay.